Hi, I'm Bonnie Annis.
And I'm Stephanie Prestidge.
And we're here from Lemoore. Today, in our weekly YouTube live event, we are going to talk about pH, preservatives, and how they work together in natural skincare. So, I think my first question, Stephanie, is to ask you, because there's lots of questions, and we could go on for a very long time. We're going to try to keep this snappy. What does, when you see on a label, when you buy a skincare product, you pick it up in the pharmacy or wherever you are, what does pH balanced mean? Or what is it supposed to mean, and what does it mean?
Marketing slogan. We can discuss puffery.
Yeah.
Because there's no legal definition around that term. And also under INCI, for nomenclature of the global cosmetic industry, stating a pH of a product on a label is not a requirement.
Right. So people can say, and puffery is a term that is somewhat regulated. Health Canada says you're allowed to say certain things that are puffery. It's like, we know they may not really be true, or we may say them knowing that there's no real definition. And pH balance is one of those things. So what would the optimal meaning be of pH balance?
To the surface of the skin.
And what is that pH?
4.5 to 5.5.
Right. And, if you happen to have for consumers, it may have less meaning. For manufacturers, it may be a marketing term, right? It could be a 7. It could be completely neutral, and that wouldn't be pH balance for the skin, but they could say pH balance because it is balanced. 7 is right in the middle between acidic and alkaline. So that could mean pH balanced as well. So what is the connection? Now we're going to start talking about preservatives a little bit. What is the connection? Because how many people think that if a product is natural or organic, means that there are no preservatives in it? What's your thought? Do you think people think that?
Possibly, because all of the known concerns around preservatives, and of course the big one we've all talked about for a long time is parabens.
Parabens, formaldehyde releasers, and we have some good research around formaldehyde releasers, certainly, and we could talk about that at another time. But parabens, I think we still need more research. There's no parabens in any of the products we're talking about, but I want to be fair and reasonable that we still need more research around parabens and what they do. But we'll have
Absolutely.
that. We'll talk about that another day, because it's like, oh no, she's getting ready. She's going to start talking about parabens. But in the interest of making a concise YouTube Live, we need to stick to the topic. And that's the thing, when you're sitting with someone who knows so much stuff, so we got to stay focused.
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge. I know it is. And there's so much to talk about. And we could sit here all afternoon. That would be boring as hell for everybody watching, but great for us. We'd have a great time doing that. So what is the connection between natural skincare products and the type and amount of preservatives, especially as it relates to your microbiome health? That was a really complicated question. You got that one?
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
Focusing on microbiome
Yes.
needs to be a very low preservative body.
Okay,
Extremely
which would make
important.
sense.
So we can't put all natural skincare into the same category. Not all natural skincare focuses on skin microbiome.
Right.
If it's not a focus on skin microbiome, then they could potentially use a natural compound for preservative, which is great, and maybe have a higher percentage of it because they don't need any microbes at all in their product.
Okay, right.
But when you are specifically talking about probiotic skincare, and specifically as well a skincare company that uses live biotherapeutic probiotics, it's very, very complicated and very, very sophisticated and tricky.
Okay. And so what is that connection? You had mentioned to me something earlier called hurdle technology. And I'm learning so much when we do these events, and I walk around talking about Hayflick Limit, and now I'm going to be walking around talking about hurdle technology. What is hurdle technology first before we dive in deeper?
It's Esse's concept to their preservative system, first things first. So they created this technology themselves. And it look at formulations as preservatives as a sidebar. Preservative is not the only way to formulate a product to keep it from growing pathogenic microbes.
Here, I've already planted my cucumbers for pickling. I've got lots of tomatoes. I have a whole room for my canning. That's another conversation too.
Same.
If I was gonna do, we were gonna do another YouTube channel, we'd do one on homesteading and bees and canning and all that stuff too. Which is why this topic is something we're so passionate about too, because we want to eat safe food. We want to make sure.
So when we look at that connection, what I'm specifically focusing on is acidity.
Okay.
When you do canning that is not pressure canning, you have to be very careful of your acidity levels. They need to be acidic. So, for example, when I make tomato paste and sauces, you have to add lemon juice. It has to be acidic. So that's something with hurdle technology, is actually having product with lower acidity for that skin range, that 4.5 to 5.5. Having product at that range, it's not going to be as fluffy of a product. The creams are going to be heavier dense. They're not going to be as fluffy, light feelings. But that's the thing with Esse. They care more about the product, not the feeling.
Okay, wait. I need to bring this up. Okay, so I think we've all seen TV commercials where you put your fingers in the jar and then you hold it, comme ça, and then you've got this lovely mound of fluffy whipped moisturizer. And that would be lovely. Okay. But we don't have that. Why don't we have that with Esse products? Because this was kind of a surprise for me.
Because it's acidic. It's actually acidic.
So when something's more acidic, it's not going to whip the same way.
It's not going to be as light as fluffy. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So when things are light, fluffy, and whippy, like meringues, you're looking at pHs probably near neutral or even up to 9, 10 into alkaline.
So more alkaline. Okay. So then we just have to know when it's not whipped like that, that it's more likely to be a lower pH, more likely to connect with the pH of our skin, 4.5 to 5.5. So that was something that I just learned today too. I learned something new every single week that we do this, because we have the science geek here for skincare, and she looks after all of this stuff. So one of the things I always wondered about probiotics. So I teach infection control. That's another class that we run. So one of the things I always wondered was, how do they keep a product safe and commercially viable with preservatives and keep the probiotics alive, the live biotherapeutics? How do they do that? And this is really key. You're gonna see a million microbiome-friendly skincare products on the market very, very soon. So it's good to know what questions you should be asking. So how do they keep the probiotics alive in formulation while still maintaining the integrity of the product?
Lipid base, no water.
No water. It's pretty
No
basic.
water.
It's pretty basic. When you look at an ingredient list on a formulation, if you see extract, if you see tinctures, if you see, what are some other codes for that? Just ways of wording things.
Aqua.
Aqua.
Instead of water.
Yeah, right? That's the inky format. You say INCI, I say inky, potato. But you want to make sure there are no water-based ingredients in your formulation, because then, if I recall what you said, you can encapsulate your probiotics in the lipid, which keeps it alive and protected.
Yes.
And actually, lipids are another way of preserving, right? When you make bacon, it's a fatty substance. Salt. Anyway, there's lots to talk about, and it is a huge topic, but we know that these are the questions that people ask. And And I certainly know other brands that don't talk about their preservative system, and we want to be as transparent as possible. We want people to make informed decisions about what they're using. Preservatives are vital to protect your skin from pathogens, to protect that formulation. But it's also important that those preservatives maintain the integrity of the product and protect the skin.
Have a high preservative body, it'll kill the probiotic
For
microbe.
sure. So that means it can't have any water then.
No water, low preservatives of natural compounds. Also, quality control, batch testing every single batch. Because when you're now doing things like this, it means more quality control testing.
It's a reality, and you have to keep your eye on things. So it's good to be able to go back and make sure the integrity is maintained of every batch that's created. And I think that's really good to know, that consumers are being protected, that professionals can talk to their clients about how Esse protects their clients with adequately preserved and healthy preservatives as well. So if you want to know more about the preservative system that Esse uses, you know how to reach us. You can comment below in the comments, and you can reach out on our website, lemoore.com, and reach us in the web chat during the day, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 Eastern. Thanks for joining.